This is going to be the first of two videos that'll talk about market segmentation. In this video, we're going to look at market segmentation, target markets, and segmentation variables. Dividing a market into groups of customers that share similar sets of wants is market segmentation. Here we're trying to identify characteristics of best customers, whether they're current or potential. And this is appropriate when there is a big enough group that want the same thing, but it's not everybody wanting the same thing, or a mass market. So for instance, if you're wanting something to drink, if everybody wanted the exact same thing, there would be a mass market for whatever drink that was. Same thing with getting from one place to another place. So for instance, getting from Schenectady, New York to Iowa City, Iowa. If everybody wanted to go from one place to another, wanted to use the same way of getting there, then we'd have a mass market situation. But hearing these examples, you probably recognizing that that's pretty rare for everybody to want the same thing when they have a same want. So this 80-20 rule, the Pareto principle, is really important. For your business, it's likely that a relatively small percentage of your customers are going to account for a large portion of your business. It doesn't necessarily mean that exactly 20% of your best customers are going to account for exactly 80% of your sales, but the general idea is if you can figure out who your best customers are, then you're going to be able to protect and try to nurture this large portion of your business. That's why this idea of market segmentation is important, and the 80-20 rule, how it ties in with it. A defined group of consumers or organizations that has the willingness and ability to pay that the marketer decides to pursue is called the target market. Related to the idea I mentioned on the previous slide of market segmentation, target market is the most attractive market segment out there, at least in the perception of the marketer. The marketer's thinking to himself or herself, this is the group that is going to appreciate our offer more than any other group, whether it be a group of consumers or a group of organizations. This is where we think we should direct our marketing efforts to. So next thing I want to talk about are segmentation variables, and we'll talk about segmentation variables for consumer markets, and we'll talk about segmentation variables for business-to-business markets. From last week, we talked about consumer behavior situations where people are buying things for their own personal or household use. When looking at consumer markets and segmentation variables for consumer markets, let's, for example, look at a product of an umbrella. Why do people want an umbrella? Some people might want an umbrella for protection against the rain. Other people might want an umbrella for protection against the sun. Still, other people might want an umbrella as something they can use along with an outfit that they have where it looks really impressive together, like an accessory of some sort. Those are all separate benefits that consumers might seek for an umbrella, and that could help you identify who's interested versus who's not interested in an umbrella product, and looking at what they would benefit from when having that product. Another notion that's related to the idea of benefits for umbrellas is geographic climate. If you are wanting protection against the rain, then who would want protection against the rain? People who live in England and Scotland, people who live in the Pacific Northwest of the US, or maybe even the southeastern United States. They would arguably be more interested in protection against the rain, especially on a more of a daily basis than other geographic areas and their climates. For protection against the sun, areas that are very warm, that get a lot of sun, deserts. In the United States, the southern part of the United States that is a bit warmer, that might be areas that consumers are more interested in umbrella for protection against the sun versus people who are less concerned about that particular benefit. So those are examples of segmentation variables, characteristics that would distinguish people who are interested versus people who aren't really very interested in a particular product or service. Segmentation variables are also important to consider in business-to-business markets. If you are a business selling to other businesses, what characteristics of your customers are likely to be in common for your best customers? Let's use an example of an organic food product. If you are in business and you're selling organic food products, who are your best customers likely to be? What are their characteristics? One way of thinking about that is the industry or type of organization. You're probably going to have more customers that are food co-ops and grocery stores for being your best customers. You probably aren't going to make a whole lot of sales at Dick's. You're probably not going to sell much to Home Depot. So that's one important characteristic that often distinguishes organizations that are more interested in your product or service if you're a business selling to other businesses. Another notion that can distinguish customers that are likely to be interested versus not interested is their location. If you are selling an organic food product and it doesn't stay fresh for very long, if you don't use many ingredients, and it's food that's designed to be very, very fresh if you consume it pretty soon after it's harvested and shipped out, then the best customers that you're likely to have are probably going to be nearby where you can get those products delivered pretty quickly after they're harvested so that they're available for sale and can be obtained by consumers that would find the food attractive. So customer location could be also another factor, another segmentation variable that distinguishes customers that are likely to be interested versus customers that are not as likely to be interested in your products or services. In the next video, we'll talk about how to identify a target market, and we'll talk about some ethical issues in market segmentation.